Level 1, the Powder Monkey. You are 11 years old. The bosun picks you off the docks of Port Royal. Small hands move fast in tight spaces. Bare feet grip wet planks better than any boot. You climb aboard a two-masted sloop with no name on the stern. He points you below the waterline. A wet felt screen hangs across the magazine door. The screen stops stray sparks before they reach the powder kegs. You duck through it. 40 men's lives depend on what happens inside this room. You wrap gunpowder into flannel cartridges by the light of a sealed horn lantern. Open flame is forbidden this close to the kegs. You count 9 steps from the magazine hatch to the ladder. You climb that ladder over a dozen times before the sun clears the horizon. You carry powder. You carry water in a leather bucket. You carry rope coiled thick as your forearm. You carry a dead man's boots up from the hold. A living man needs them now. You drop a cartridge once mid-run. Loose powder scatters across the boards. A gunner's mate grinds it under his boot heel before a spark finds it. He says nothing to the captain. He does not forget it either. A gale hits in your 3rd week aboard. Water comes over the rail in sheets. You bail with a wooden bucket for 6 hours straight. Salt cracks the skin across both palms. A boy no older than you loses his grip on the mainmast shroud. He does not come back up. A merchant prize sits 3 miles off the bow. No captain slows down for one boy. The crew reads the Articles of Agreement in the 4th week. Every man marks his name on the page. You are not old enough to sign yet. 50 raised hands confirm the captain's command instead. Your first battle comes 2 weeks later under full sail. A 9-pound cannon fires 12 feet from your head. Your ears ring for 2 full days after. You run powder up 3 ladders while grapeshot shreds the deck rail above you. You do not stop moving until the guns fall silent. The quartermaster gives you the terms after. Survive 1 more year. Turn 12. Put your own mark on the articles. Earn a full man's share like everyone else standing on this deck. Level 2, the Ordinary Seaman. You are 13 years old. The rigging replaces the magazine. You climb the ratlins for the first time with no rope tied to your waist. 40 feet below, the deck looks the size of a coin. Your hands lock around the shroud. You do not move for 8 full seconds. A topman shoves your boot toward the yardarm. You move. You learn to reef a sail against the wind. You learn to splice 2 ropes into one. You learn to read a compass heading. You learn to take a sounding by feel, counting fathom knots on a wet lead line in the dark. Rations come twice a day. Ship's biscuit, riddled with weevils, tapped hard against the table before you eat it. Salted pork, gray at the edges. A pint of water, sometimes less. You learn to tap the biscuit 3 times. You learn which weevils to flick away. You learn which ones to ignore. An older hand named Coop stops climbing by the 2nd month. His gums bleed when he chews. 2 teeth come loose in a week. He cannot grip a line tight enough to be trusted aloft. The crew puts him ashore at the next port. Nobody argues the decision. Nobody visits him before the ship sails. You lose your grip once, out on the foreyard, 40 feet up. Your foot slides off the foot rope. A hand closes on your collar before the deck can claim you. Your knees shake for an hour after. You tell no one. You take your first sounding alone during a channel crossing. You call the depth back to the sailing master 3 times running. The numbers hold steady. The ship clears a sandbar nobody could see from the deck. The captain calls you forward in your 5th month. You can manage a sail. You can steer a compass heading. You can take a sounding without help. That is the whole test. You put your mark on the Articles of Agreement. A full share is yours now, same as any grown man on this deck. A boarding party forms 2 weeks later. The bosun reads your name off the list. Level 3, the Able Seaman. You're 16 years old. The quartermaster hands you a cutlass for the first time. The blade runs close to 3 feet, curved, backed by a half-circle guard for your knuckles. You're told to keep it clean, ready at all times. The articles demand it. You drill twice a week under the bosun's eye. You learn to swing a cutlass at a hanging sack of sand. You learn to throw a grappling hook 30 feet across open water. You learn to breach a locked door with a boarding axe, spike first. You learn to reload a flintlock pistol with your hands shaking. A merchant brig strikes her colors after 2 warning shots across her bow. You go over the rail in the second wave, cutlass drawn. 20 men hit the deck around you at once. A sailor blocks your path with a boarding pike. You freeze for 1 full second. The hesitation nearly costs you your arm. Another pirate drags the man down before the pike finds you. You find your own man seconds later, a mate with a drawn knife backing toward the mast. You swing the cutlass. The blade connects below his raised arm. He drops. Your hands sweat inside your grip. Your ears still ring from the warning shots. You do not look at him twice. The quartermaster divides the prize that night on deck. Bolts of cloth, barrels of sugar, coin counted out share by share. Your share equals a grown man's share now. The ledger marks them the same. The gunner loses 2 fingers to a misfire 3 days later. The quartermaster looks down the line of able seamen for a replacement. Level 4, the gunner. You're 19 years old. The quartermaster puts you on the surviving gun crew the same week. A 6-pound saker sits bolted to its carriage, 4 feet of iron on 4 wooden wheels. 9 men work this one gun. You are the 9th. You learn to swab the barrel clean of embers. You learn to ram the powder cartridge home. You learn to seat the shot against the charge. You learn to fire the gun on the captain's count. Round shot punches holes through a hull. Chain shot links 2 half-balls on a chain. It shreds sail. It shreds rigging. Grape shot scatters a canvas bag of iron balls across an open deck. You load whichever the quartermaster calls for. Nobody sinks a prize on purpose. A ship at the bottom of the sea carries no cargo home. The gun fires 11 times in your first engagement. Your ears ring by the 3rd shot. By the 11th, your hearing comes back muffled. It is not clear for 2 full days. The gun jumps back on its wheels with every shot, 3 feet of recoil across the deck. You forget to step clear once. The carriage will catches your boot heel. It nearly takes your foot with it. A crewman hauls you back a half-second before the second recoil. A fleeing merchantman tries to outrun the ship on open water. Your gun crew puts 4 rounds of chain shot into her rigging. Her foremast comes down across the deck on the 4th hit. She strikes her colors within the hour. A gun 2 decks down bursts during the same fight, cracked along an old fault line in the iron. The blast kills the loader outright. It burns the second gunner's hands to the bone. No one stops the battle to grieve him. The quartermaster marks your name after the prize is counted. Steady hands. Good aim. Calm under fire. He mentions you might do well running a deck of your own one day. Level 5, the bosun. You are 22 years old. The old bosun dies of fever in port. The quartermaster puts you in his place before the ship weighs anchor again. 41 men now answer to your morning rounds. You inspect the hull for rot. You inspect the rigging for fray. You inspect the anchor cable for wear. You inspect the powder store for damp. You report every finding to the captain before the sun clears the yardarm. A storm splits the mainsail down its seam in your second month. You call 6 men to the sail locker. The spare canvas is bent on within 2 hours. It draws wind again before the next watch. 2 crewmen brawl over a card game in the forecastle. The articles forbid fighting outright. The crew votes on the punishment the same hour. You're the one who ties the offender to the grating. The cat o' 9 tails hangs coiled in a red bag below deck. 9 cords, each one knotted 3 times along its length. The man bites down on a lead bullet before the first stroke lands. Moses' law calls for 39 lashes, 1 short of 40. You deliver every one yourself. The man is your friend of 4 years. The vote does not care whose friend he is. A hurricane finds the ship 8 days later. Rigging shrieks in wind, no instrument on this ship can measure. The foremast cracks 2 feet above the deck. You call for the axes before the captain gives the order. Cutting the mast free costs you a full day's headway. Keeping it would have cost the ship. You miss a rotted plank below the waterline on your 3rd inspection. Water finds it during the crossing that follows. The carpenter catches the leak before it reaches the powder store. You do not miss another plank after that. The sailing master takes a fall from the quarterdeck ladder 11 days later, his hip broken clean through. He will not walk unaided again. The captain asks who among the crew can read a chart. Level 6, the sailing master. You are 25 years old. The The captain hands you the chart table the same week the old master takes his fall. Nobody teaches you gently. Nobody has time to. You learn to read the log line, counting knots paid out against the turn of the sandglass. You learn to hold a compass heading steady against a swinging card. You learn to mark dead reckoning on the chart each hour. Speed, heading, time. You learn to judge leeway by the angle of the wake alone. No instrument on this ship can fix a longitude. The nautical chronometer that will solve that problem sits decades in the future. Every position on your chart is an estimate built on guesswork, nothing more. You misjudge a current in your second month at the table. The ship runs 12 miles off its intended course before dawn confirms the error. A merchant prize the crew was chasing slips over the horizon, gone for good. The quartermaster does not raise his voice. He does not need to. A Royal Navy sloop appears off the stern 8 weeks later. You know these shoals from 3 prior crossings. You thread the ship through a channel 4 fathoms deep at low tide. The channel runs too shallow for the Navy vessel's draft to follow. The sloop falls behind within the hour. You take a sounding wrong once during that same passage, calling 9 fathoms where the chart later proves 6. The keel scrapes bottom hard. A topman loses his grip on the bowsprit, netting from a jolt. He surfaces 200 yards astern. The ship does not turn back in time. A boat goes out for him after the tide changes. It comes back empty. The crew clears the windward passage under your reckoning alone. For days, no sight of land the whole crossing. Landfall comes within a half-mile of where you predicted it. Trust in your word grows harder to shake after that. The quartermaster is killed by a boarding party's stray shot 11 days later. The crew gathers on deck within the hour to name his replacement. Level 7, the quartermaster. You are 28 years old. The crew names you quartermaster before the old one's blood dries on the deck. An extra half share comes with the title, same terms Bartholomew Roberts once wrote into his own articles. You count out the coin, man by man. You count out the cloth, bale by bale. You count out the cargo, crate by crate. You lock the surplus where only you hold the key. 2 men draw pistols over a debt in your 3rd week. You stop the fight on deck. You move it ashore instead. Backs together. 10 paces. A turn. Then fire on your count. 1 man limps back to the boat. The debt ends there on the sand. A hand named Fenwick is caught with 3 gold rings sewn into his coat lining. He stole them from the common stock before the split. The articles are plain on theft. You call the vote yourself. Marooning. 1 pistol. A small horn of powder. A fistful of shot. 1 bottle of water. Left on a spit of sand that floods at high tide. Fenwick signed the articles beside you 9 years ago, back when you carried powder for a living. He asks you to remember that. You remember it. You maroon him anyway. The captain wants to take a heavily armed slaver at anchor in a guarded harbor 2 months later. You call the crew to a vote instead of following the order outright. 40 men vote against the risk. The attack does not happen. The captain's word is not the only word on this ship. Not by the articles. Not ever. You lead the boarding party on a prize taken off the windward passage. Cutlass first over the rail, same as any able seaman. The prize's own captain surrenders without a shot fired. You take command of her as her new captain under your old captain's flag. The old captain loses 2 more votes of confidence within a month. The crew starts asking who should stand in his place. Level 8, the captain. You're 31 years old. The crew votes you into command by a clear majority. The old captain steps down under pressure that same week. You draw up your own articles within the week. Every man puts his mark to them before the ship sails again. You let the tale of a mutineer's fate travel ahead of the ship. You let merchant captains repeat it in every port before you arrive. You let the black flag do work no cannon could manage faster. You let fear clear a deck before a single shot is fired. A merchant convoy of 3 ships crosses your path 2 months into command. The lead ship strikes her colors on sight of your flag alone, no shot exchanged. The second follows within the hour. The third tries to run. Your gun crews put 6 rounds of chain shot through her rigging before she gives up the chase. An attack on a well-defended fort goes wrong in your 4th month. 2 men die on the beach. The prize inside the fort walls is never taken. The crew calls a vote on your command that same week. 19 men vote to keep you. 17 do not. You survive by 2 votes, nothing more. A boatswain's mate plots a mutiny after that close vote. He promises 4 other hands a bigger share under his own command. Another crewman brings you the plan before it can be carried out. You call the vote yourself this time. The articles are read aloud. The mutineer goes over the side with a length of chain around his ankles. No trial beyond the crew's raised hands. Word of the convoy prize spreads through every port from the Windward Passage to the Bahama Banks. 2 smaller pirate crews asked to sail under your flag within the year. Their own captain stepped down to serve as yours instead. 3 ships answer to you now. Just shy of 200 men do too. You set a course for Nassau, a harbor that answers to no crown at all. Level 9, the Commodore. You're 34 years old. 3 captains answer to your flag inside a year. Each commands his own ship, none of them equal to you. Near 250 men sail under your combined command by the time the fleet reaches full strength. You decide which ship leads the line. You decide which ship burns for salvage when supplies run short. You decide which crew disputes go to a vote. You decide who sails on, who does not. You blockade a small Carolina harbor for 6 days. 3 ships anchored across the channel mouth. You hold 2 captured passengers as surety. You demand a chest of provisions, a supply of medicine, in exchange for the channel opening again. The town delivers within the week. You release the passengers unharmed, same as promised. Word of the kept promise travels faster than word of the ransom. The slowest ship in your fleet runs aground on a sandbar during the retreat from that same harbor. Freeing her would cost you 2 days you do not have. A Navy patrol reported nearby. You order her stripped bare, guns, stores, anything worth the time to carry off. You leave her hull to the tide. 40 of your own men are put ashore near a river mouth soon after. They are told to wait for a second ship. It is not coming back for them. Fewer hands left aboard means fewer men to split the next haul with. You give the order yourself. You do not watch them wave from the beach as the sails fill. A colonial governor offers you a pardon that same season in exchange for a share of what you carry. You take it. You settle into a house in a small port town for 4 months. You marry there under a name that is not quite your own. 4 months of quiet is all you last. You break the pardon before the year ends. A third of your old crew comes back to the water with you. Word reaches you at sea 11 months later. The king has offered a pardon to every pirate who surrenders by a set date. A new royal governor sails for Nassau within the season, warships alongside him. He comes to end the Republic of Pirates for good. Level 10, the Pirate Lord. You're 37 years old. Nassau holds close to 1,000 men who answer to no crown. Your ship drops anchor in its harbor. Pirates elect their own governors here, the same as they elect their own captains. The crews vote you their magistrate within the season, the highest office a man on the account can hold. You settle a dispute over a stolen anchor between 2 rival crews. You settle a dispute over a woman claimed by 2 captains at once. You settle who drinks first from a well during a drought. You settle which flag flies over a captured prize when 3 crews lay claim to her at once. A new boy comes off a merchant sloop on the Nassau docks one morning. It is near the end of your 2nd year. Bare feet, small hands. A boatswain from another ship looks him over once, the same look you remember from 26 years back. You do not speak to the boy. You watch him carried below deck toward a magazine hatch. You keep walking. A sloop arrives from the north not long after, carrying word of the king's pardon. Every pirate who surrenders by the first week of September walks free, no trial, no rope. A new royal governor sails for this harbor within the month, warships at his back. He comes to see the terms enforced. Half the Republic takes the pardon within the week. Ships that flew the black flag on Monday fly nothing at all by Friday. You do not take it. 26 years on the water do not end with a signature on a page. You move your ship into a shallow inlet north of the harbor. The water runs 4 fathoms deep at high tide, 6 at low. No frigate in the King's Navy can follow you across that bar. You believe the water will hold the line, the pardon could not. Two sloops cross the bar at first light 11 days later. They are built shallow enough to follow where no larger ship could go. A lieutenant commands them, sent ahead of the new governor to end this before the season is out. Your first broadside kills 10 of his men outright. Grape shot, scrap iron, fired point blank into a packed deck. He orders the rest below out of sight, playing dead before your own crew ever boards. You go over the rail first, pistol in each hand, same as you trained 2 decades to do. The lieutenant's hidden men rise from the deck the moment your feet land. A pistol ball takes you in the shoulder. A cutlass opens your forearm to the bone. You keep swinging. 5 pistol balls find you before the fight ends. Something near 20 sword cuts open your arms, your chest, your neck. You go down on a deck that is not your own. The water runs 4 fathoms deep beneath you. This season was supposed to be yours. They take your head for the bowsprit. They put your body over the side without it. The boy from the Nassau docks is 30 miles away by then. He is down in a different ship's magazine. He wraps his first cartridge in flannel by the light of a horn lantern. He has not heard the news yet. He will not hear it for days. The cycle continues.